watch me as I grow. And we ain't gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. Yeah, I'm the fucking show. I'm gonna rule this world one day. Y'all finna know the name. I'm spitting game to the people who decide our fate. I'll make a name in history, be one of the greats. I've got the traits that you need to get past the gates. Man, I don't wait, I exceed every single day. A different breed, yeah, I put it on display. Got all I need, and it's up inside my brain. I will succeed, cause I tell myself that every day. Y'all will concede and remember the name. Shout out to Fort Minor, cause it's 50% pain, but that 5% of pleasure's why I'm still in the game. And I exceed every measure by hard work, I'll explain. It's early mornings and late nights. It's fight and sleep, that's the hardest fight. But when you sleep, someone's passing by. You better try harder and fight smarter to go farther. Become your own monster, call a self-starter. Take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. And we ain't gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. Yeah, I'm the fucking show. It's hard, I've been scarred from out fighting. Waking up, stomach is starved, I keep grinding. 6 a.m, life isn't hard, I keep reciting. It feels like I might fall apart, I keep trying. Sun's coming up and the glare is so blinding. I'm sick of hearing and seeing all of the people whining. You want something good, then you better go put the time in. You get what you pay for, and time is money, we climbing. It's prime time, it's my time, I got it. I'll be just fine, my mind, you can't stop it. Give me a vine to climb and I'll top it. Grow yourself a spine, got mine, that's a promise. Take a deep breath and head towards the darkness. The light at the end wasn't put there by no novice. My hand I extend, so welcome to my office. No time to repent, we're building and not stopping. We're gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. And we ain't gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. Yeah, I'm the fucking show. I'm gonna rule this world one day. Y'all finna know the name. I'm spitting game to the people who decide our fate. I'll make a name in history, be one of the greats. I've got the traits that you need to get past the gates. Man, I don't wait, I exceed every single day. A different breed, yeah, I put it on display. Got all I need, and it's up inside my brain. I will succeed, cause I tell myself that every day. Y'all will concede and remember the name. Shout out to Fort Minor, cause it's 50% pain. But that 5% of pleasure's why I'm still in the game. And I exceed every measure by hard work, I'll explain. It's early mornings and late nights. It's fight and sleep, that's the hardest fight. But when you sleep, someone's passing by. You better try harder and fight smarter to go farther. Become your own monster, called a self-starter.
Take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. And we ain't gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. Yeah, I'm the fucking show.
It's hard, I've been scarred from out fighting. Waking up, stomach is starved, I keep grinding. 6 a.m, life isn't hard, I keep reciting. It feels like I might fall apart, I keep trying. Sun's coming up and the glare is so blinding. I'm sick of hearing and seeing all of the people whining. You want something good, then you better go put the time in. You get what you pay for and time is money, we climbing. It's prime time, it's my time, I got it. I'll be just fine, my mind, you can't stop it. Give me a vine to climb and I'll top it. Grow yourself a spine, got mine, that's a promise. Take a deep breath and head towards the darkness. The light at the end wasn't put there by no novice. My hand I extend, so welcome to my office. No time to repent, we're building and not stopping.
We're gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. And we ain't gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. Yeah, I'm the fucking show.
I'm gonna rule this world one day. Y'all finna know the name. I'm spitting game to the people who decide our fate. I'll make a name in history, be one of the greats. I've got the traits that you need to get past the gates. Man, I don't wait, I exceed every single day. A different breed, yeah, I put it on display. Got all I need, and it's up inside my brain. I will succeed, cause I tell myself that every day. Y'all will concede and remember the name. Shout out to Fort Minor, cause it's 50% pain. But that 5% of pleasure's why I'm still in the game. And I exceed every measure by hard work, I'll explain. It's early mornings and late nights. It's fight and sleep, that's the hardest fight. But when you sleep, someone's passing by. You better try harder and fight smarter to go farther. Become your own monster, called a self-starter.
Take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole. And ain't nobody stopping us, no. So watch me as I go, watch me as I grow. And we ain't gonna take it slow, and we gon' make it out this hole.
And just keep going. fucking implacably, regardless of what it costs us, regardless of how much we have to lose. We just have to keep going. But that doesn't mean we should be silly about things. We need to be smart. Went to a Professor Peterson event a few days ago. I told him he was a pretty good wizard, a person who changes the world around them via verbal and semantic components, i.e. their words and actions. Well, the memes of destruction, which is a great username. That's really nerdy, but I approve.
All right, then. Oh, here we go. All right, now I think we're actually live. We should actually have sound stuff and things. Let me turn up my actual panel as well. Let's see if we got this going now. All right, guys. So now we're going to be discussing today Articles 11 and 13/17, whatever they're naming the EU directive on copyright here. I am currently your host, The Memes of Destruction. I am also here with, oh my god, I need to find where the hell I actually am. Where do I exist? I exist over here. All right. So I have Comrade Doku, aka Doku XL. How are we doing today, Mr. Doku?
I'm tired, but doing good.
All right, then. As well, we have our local producer, Jensen Quinn. How are we doing today, Mr. Jensen?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much, and I hope everyone that's listening is having a good day.
Cool. As well, we have the amazing MC. How are we doing, MC?
Hopefully, I kind of busted my hand breaking boards.
Oh, that sucks. I'd say take an aspirin and hot and cold techniques. Yes.
I'll just be in pain and angry for the rest of the day. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so we're about the usual. Okay. So, and our favorite fellow Northern Irishman, the Voice of One. How are we doing today, Mr. Voice?
Not bad, but what MC is actually talking about is wankers crumb.
Well, he is a married man, so we won't go down that pathway, even though MC has given me much good advice that I have often not actually heeded. So, going on to these directives here. So, I have Wikipedia up here right now, seeing as this has obviously become an actual cited news source, seeing as on YouTube videos discussing somewhat contentious issues, or aka sometimes known as conspiracy theories. This is what they link to. So, the directive on copyright in the digital single market. So, we've heard a whole lot of things about this is going to end the internet. Google's pulling out of Europe. What's going on? I would contend that the law always lags behind technology. This is just a given. We've known this for years, and seeing as we've had a great acceleration in technology over the past decade, it only makes sense that you try to play catch up, and apparently we've come together with this. I would argue there are some, at least, concepts in here that could actually be beneficial as well. However, their method of implementation is highly suspect and written extremely broadly, so the actual implementation, we'll have to see, could go over the next 2 years. So, seeing as we have two friends here that are actually in Europe, still currently, Jensen and Voice, what are your guys' thoughts on Articles 11 and 13?
We voted to leave on the 29th. It's gone past the 29th. I am no longer Euro scum. But, based on your question, the entire bloody thing is stupid. And simply put, if it's true about the Swedish accidentally hitting the wrong button, then we really need to rethink whether or not they should be allowed to vote. At least until they've worked out, basic, control of their body. Randomly slamming their head on the keyboard to vote is not necessarily a good plan, in my opinion.
Jensen, I'm not sure if that's accurate, because over the 19-second voting period, I did not hear any loud thuds that sounded like a head slamming against a button there. It does seem to me, however, that it is interesting for the sheer fact that a slight oopsie may have completely changed the internet and the forward that we... Basically, they may have... Yeah, the internet may get fucked.
Well, you
Let's be
see-
blunt. Out of all the lame excuses you can come up with. Oops, hit the wrong button. Sorry, guys.
Well, I thought they was in contention to do amendments that would at least side table it, and then it would go back to a vote. I'm not sure of EU actual procedures.
Well, you see, everybody's getting very excited about this. What's the word for it? The silencing of people. But quite frankly, what the EU's doing has been done before. It was called the Department of Public Enlightenment. Can anyone tell me where that comes from?
What was that, from Germany or 1984?
That was from Nazi Germany. Again, history is repeating itself. The first thing authoritarians do is censor people. And
Oh yeah, that
Nazis-
was Goebbels, wasn't it?
I believe so, but don't quote me on it.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was Goebbels.
So again, Germany is doing what it did in the past. So again, to solve this problem, we must bomb Germany.
well, I mean, that would sound like that would be the initiating of an act of war in and of itself. I don't think that's quite the right answer for things at this moment.
No means now. It's not war. We are defending ourselves from censorship. That's called freedom fighting. Yes.
So, seeing as probably the bulk of internet traffic comes from a number of companies that are US based, primarily in Silicon Valley, for at least the plurality of them, yeah, I'd say there are other measures that could be taken, because if these directives pass, and they are too
other measures
burdensome.
can be taken. What was that called? The Great Wall of what? China? What was that called? Dragonfly? Oh yeah. Other measures are about to be taken. All right.
Well, as long as
Actually,
folks are
MC,
transparent
no.
about them.
No, memes is correct. There are a lot of things we can do, since there are big buildings in America that houses all this. We could all buy planes.
Well, no, the new Green Deal, we're trying to get reduce the amount of air travel and farting cows as well, because we need to think about Mother Earth.
Memes, in my defense, we're only going to use them once.
Yeah, we need more space rocks.
That doesn't
Space
seem like a
rocks.
good return on investment. The space rock mining, however, that would be a much better return on investment as soon as we get it up to a mass scale, which would take time, resources, and the actual willpower of probably a majority of the folks on the Earth, which could actually provide for a better future. But that's another topic. That's not what we're talking about right now.
Oh, you mean the Wayland-Yutani solution?
Oh, that was Wayland Industries. I think I saw that movie.
Yeah, the one with the xenomorph. I'm not xenophobic. I just don't like things that bleed acid.
I'll be straight up. The Aliens franchise, still to this day, if I'm in an area that's completely pitch black, in the back of my mind, once in a while, I'm imagining a xenomorph crawling along something, getting ready to murder me with its double jaws.
Okay,
It just wants a hug. Come on.
No, that's a face hugger.
I'm going to say something very controversial. I liked Aliens 3 and 4.
Which one do you consider 4?
I'll give you 3. Aliens
Well,
Resurrection.
Oh,
was
I
garbage.
remember. 4 was okay.
I liked when she was on the penal colony planet, because it did take it in a different direction. It wasn't very well written, but that setting could have been great. 4 with the what do you call her, where she was cloned and you had the team of criminals boarding. I also liked it because it was something different.
Yeah, that was Resurrection, I believe.
Yes,
That's right. 3, I will agree. Like, while I wasn't the hugest fan, just because as far as the IP goes, I was a big fan of the Xenomorphs themselves, because like they actually had like the Alien comic books stuff back in the day, where they'd introduce like the different like alien hybrids and stuff like that, and the different powers that they'd have, and as they would battle with them, like Aliens, the second one, like you had a diversity of aliens there, which was pretty cool. But 3 was very dramatic, especially towards the end with what was it? The android guy, frickin' Wilson something.
Bishop.
Bishop,
David?
yeah. I think it was David Bishop or
Bishop.
something.
Yeah.
But Bishop, and he's explaining, it's like, well, this was kind of planned. That's where, like, you get Prometheus kind of starting to try to connect the franchise, which...
Memes, do not mention those shite movies. Do not mention them. There was no Alien movies after Resurrection. Okay?
Prometheus?
We try. I haven't watched them yet. I watched the original Prometheus. I haven't seen the second.
Well, don't.
I didn't mind Prometheus, actually.
What?
No, I didn't mind it. It has plenty of plot holes, but as a movie, it was enjoyable.
It actually explains a lot.
No, it doesn't. It makes the fucking Alien nothing pathetic. You know, the Alien, it was scary because it was the unknown, but now we have this psychological question of we created machines created the alien kills us. No, fuck off. We want the alien to be hidden, to be mysterious. You know, no.
I thought the whole point of the franchise...
I don't think about the proto-Xeno thing when it comes to Prometheus. The only thing I care about in that movie is the engineers.
Well, that's...
Oh, come on, just a minute, Doku. You wanted to see tentacles.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Even though there may have been an Easter egg there paying to some fanship, you gotta agree, at least as far as the IP and stuff goes, the whole concept of basically the great engineers whom we share extraordinarily close, more or less, DNA patterns with. So basically an entity who may have had a hand in creating us, these beings from the heavens, that also at the same time created a biological agent that actually, when used against them, ends up creating the ultimate horror for a species that ends up utilizing us as their method of reproduction in order to destroy us and have themselves propagate. Like that sounds like a terrifying hell on Earth.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but did you notice what you said there? You see, the creators were white and the goo that killed us was black.
I thought.
I wonder, should we take anything from that?
What?
So basically, the engineers are George Soros.
Wait, are you saying the engineers were Jewish? As far as the conspiracy side of the internet, things come full circle now. So, all right, I'm throwing down the half Jewish dragonkin card. So try to save us somebody on the internet.
Article 11 and Article 13.
Right.
Okay? All right.
Yes,
specifically.
So, okay, let's start with at least the first paragraph of Wikipedia. So, your average Joe Dick or Sally that's like, what the hell's going on with this? So, the Directive on Copyright in the Digital Single Market, also known as EU Copyright Directive, is a European Union EU directive intended to ensure a well-functioning marketplace for the exploitation of works and other subject matter, taking into account in particular digital and cross-border uses of protected content. It extends existing European Union copyright law and is a component of the EU's Digital Single Market Project. The European Council, EC, describes their key goals with the directive as protecting press publications, reducing the value gap between the profits made by internet platforms and by content creators, encouraging collaboration between these two groups, and creating copyright exceptions for text and data mining. So, at least as far as that goes, that actually sounds pretty good.
The Affordable Care Act.
Why? Okay, yes, the Patriot. Why is it that the better any function or article of legislation, the better it sounds? You always seem to want to delve into the details to see what goes on. Why don't they just name it? It's like the Liar Liar Pants on Fire Act. Just name it something absolutely horrific, so people will be like, "This sounds like bullshit." But what's actually in it? Oh, if there's good stuff, then it kind of rejiggers the brain. So you're like, huh?
Oh, let's get to this. First of all, their claim that there's one claim in there that's absolutely accurate, and that is their intention, all right, of protecting the media.
And
What
that's
they
the thing.
don't say is that which media they're protecting. They're protecting the old guard media that protects them. They're protecting the propagandists.
Well, it says
And that's the thing. Two things are going to happen from this, regardless of how well intentioned it is. There are two outcomes from this. The first is because groups like YouTube, Google, Facebook, Twitter, they're going to be the ones held accountable. That's problem number one. Because what are they going to do? They're just going to say, fuck it. Yeah, they're not going to want to go out and try to defend anybody that's, trying to do fair or using something for fair use or anything like that. No, they're in it for profit. So why the hell are they going to waste their time? The system's already broken enough as it is when it comes to these corporations.
Well, I think one of the issues we see here, Doku, is this kind of shifts the way the system has functioned. And it's because if there's a copyright claim, a claim is filed, and then you can appeal for fair use. I know I've been through that several times. I'm sure most content creators have been through that at some point or another, because it ends up falling upon the individual that publishes the copyrighted work upon the platform itself. This shifts that burden onto the platforms themselves. That's the big thing here. So basically, as YouTube were to see it, rather than having to potentially open themselves up to mass liability, that's why this legislation essentially makes it so you need to have an automatic content filter upon upload. That's why this whole upload filter comes in.
Does the United States have the same laws as the EU when it comes to copyright protection?
No.
How the hell are you going to try and hold them accountable for that?
Well, that's the interesting
you
thing.
are just deciding on your own to try and say, okay, we're going to hold you accountable. Now, the only way that they can do that is to basically either ban, for example, my content, theater, my content specifically that I make, all right, is going to be banned. Why? Because it will never by those decisions. So either they're gonna restrict me so that I can't be viewed in these other countries in Europe. The Great Firewall of Europe is now being placed. That's what this is. The same way that China bans me is the same way that they're going to try and ban me, at least initially, all right, with this. And what's going to happen, of course, is when their first things that they put in place are going to be backed around because people are going to use VPNs and so forth, all right, to get around these things. Once that takes place, then they're going to come back and they're going to charge. The EU is now setting up a system where they can charge YouTube and charge Google even more fines for violating their rules.
And that's exactly why platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube aren't going to fuck with it. At the end of the day, their accountability is beholden to the shareholders. They're in it to make money. Let's be perfectly blunt. They're a company, the pursuit of profit. So why are you going to open yourself up to even the potential of getting sued for millions, if not billions of dollars over, maybe some random jackoff like me who decides, like, I'm going to pull a Rachel Maddow clip, and I'm going, even if I only use 5-10 seconds of it, and MSNBC can turn around and claim copyright. They're just not going to do it. They're just going to say, fuck it. Ban it, take it out outright.
But to be fair,
that's the point.
But it does go both ways.
MC.
Oh,
but that's the point MC has here. That's the point MC has here, though. Who is Article 11 and 13 actually protecting? It's not the individual content creator. Let's say if it's PewDiePie versus T-Series. Who are they protecting? They're protecting the large media conglomerates. They're protecting T-Series. I can't use a Tucker Carlson clip. I can't use a Rachel Maddow clip. I can't use Don Lemon, even if it's within fair use. I can't do it.
You do realize this directive, it specifically does say right here, the directive as protecting press publications. And I would argue, this is why I asked back in the day, it's like, are we the press?
we're an aspect of the press, but we're not going to be protected. That's a lie.
Well, why not? Are we a press publication? Because it says
No,
protecting
we're not a
press. Can we be?
How can we be? Do we publish our own stuff?
Could we?
How are we? What do we use to publish?
The same as the media, other sources. Whether it's the media, you go through, you take a bunch of information from articles, and you actually put it together in your own words, kind of like we did back in school.
Well, the publishing, that sounds all well and good, but I don't think they're going to consider us publisher. Who gets to determine who's a publisher? They do.
Oh, okay, but yes, but like you said, we would need to publish things. That would involve actually writing articles and stuff. And like that was one of the reasons why I set up like the whole skepticsguild.com website and stuff. Was
because if you write articles, you're not going to be protected by this. Because what they're saying is, oh, that'll protect your work. But that's not their goal. Their goal isn't to protect your work. Their goal is to protect their work from scrutiny.
That's not what the article says. Even if that was the goal, that's not what the article says.
The article says, no, the article is goal there. The article goal is to lie. They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is go out of their way to protect the publishers, meaning the newspapers that agree with them. And they get to decide. They get to decide. The Europe rulers of the government get to decide what is legitimate and what isn't legitimate dissent.
MC,
that's what they're saying here.
MC, even if I acknowledge that is 100% wholly true, that is not what it says. And if people try to do that, that would sound to be like a major injustice. And then other people talk about it, and the folks that do that are seen as authoritarian.
Really?
That's a system playing out.
The EU is not seen as authoritarian already.
All I'm saying, man, is that seems like the worst possible interpretation of it.
Is the EU seen as authoritarian right now?
To a lot of folks, yes, and to a lot of folks, no.
Who says no?
I've talked to Rapp before. He says a lot of folks are. Even a lot of folks Sargon interviewed down at the pro-Remain rallies and stuff. Like they brought up issues.
Rallies want the Remain, but would any of them ask whether or not they considered the EU freaking authoritarian?
I forget if Sargon asked that, but they said they thought the EU had a place and stuff because it's voting based upon economic interests.
That's because many of them are authoritarians themselves.
I don't know. That dude in his 50s seemed pretty well-mannered and stuff. I could be wrong.
What does well-mannered have to do with being an authoritarian or not?
I think that's more of a personality type.
Here's something to point out.
God.
You brought up publisher. We've already had Dorsey, Zuckerberg, and I forget the hell her name, the lawyer for who showed up to Congress on
I forgot, yeah.
Yeah, on Wojcinski's behalf and the frickin' owner of Google, whatever that jackoff's name is. What did they consider their platforms to be? Are they a public forum or are they a publisher? How do they act? Do they act like a public forum? Do they act like a publisher? It seems they flip-flop whenever it benefits them. So how do you think Article 11 and 13, how do you think they're going to take it?
Well, it depends upon the individual nation and how they actually adopt those rules.
It's not the individual nation, it's the EU. How's the EU going to take it?
Yeah, what they're going to do, what these platforms are going to do, because they do it here in the United States where we have apparently free speech, even though that's highly arguable at this point in time, and also we have fair use, and the copyright system still gets abused. What do you think they're going to do in the EU after Article 11 and 13 go into effect? I can tell you exactly what they're going to do. They're going to do exactly what they do here. They're going to flip-flop based on whether they're a publisher or whether they're a public forum, and they're going to do it at opportunity to whatever benefits them. They do not give a shit about the content creators. They do not care about the individual creators. They want to be the next Netflix. They want YouTube Red. They want YouTube TV. They want YouTube Premium. They want to support groups like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Sky News, they're going to go in favor of whoever brings them the most revenue and try their best to not get sued. And this just opens up the door. Not even the door. This opens up the fucking floodgates for censorship. That's exactly what this does, and that's why the entire thing is completely fucking flawed.
So, Doku, I will agree with you, that absolutely could happen. According to, depending on who you ask, there would be many that would say, and probably many even on the other side, that they really want it.
Question. What government doesn't sit up there and, when it starts to become authoritarian, turns around and becomes less authoritarian? Want to show me one?
Pinochet? I heard tell. I could be wrong.
You think that things were worse under Pinochet than they were there? I suggest you go talk to some
Didn't
people
he want to leave? And my source is Coach Red Pill, so I mean, all I'm saying is this is what I heard, but I didn't hear anyone outright come and challenge any of it. But no, he cracked down and he murdered a bunch of communists, and he was going to retire, but they said they wanted him to run again.
Okay, Memes,
that's an example. I was asked.
Okay, Memes, let me ask you a question. If Article 11 and 13 were in place right now, and let's say I won't use Temple because I know MC.
Okay,
hates
hold on a
Temple.
second. What? Let's take just a second, Godoku, because the example he used is my point. Basically, you had to have a revolution happen in a country where people had to be executed. It wasn't the same government. Pinochet took charge. Okay. Governmental stance with the EU. Okay. Government. Once again, where the government, once it starts going down this censorship road, where they've turned around and said, okay, we'll start freeing things up. Show it to me.
Well, historically, that usually doesn't happen, because once government kind of gets something
Usually
going and they get a revenue stream.
Or almost
never
happens.
Well, okay. It's
don't come back and say that.
It's not an often occurrence. Once there's usually a revenue stream for something, it usually continues.
So the point here, Memes, is not that could happen. That is the most likely thing to happen, isn't it?
Could be.
The only time something like that happens is when you end up with something like the Revolutionary War or the French Revolution, where the government is completely overthrown. And usually, the American Revolution's a bit of a anomaly, shall we say. But more often than not, when an authoritarian government gets overthrown, it's almost always replaced by another authoritarian government.
Well, history has tended to show that. What I would comment on here is, okay, let's say Article 13, 11/17, what actually happens? Because it's a double-edged sword, because you were bringing up the example, you couldn't use a Tucker Carlson clip. So that means if somebody in the mainstream media was to highlight an individual, such as a Sargon out of Akkad, a Bering, or even us itself, they would need permission to utilize our content as well. How would that stop us from saying, well, for this individual, if you're going to put up me on prime time and you're doing a hit piece on me, all right, give me $50,000.
How much money do they have?
Oh, they got a lot of money.
On the more tame aspect, and this already happens, they'll just take the revenue. So, yeah, there you go. Maybe we won't remove your video. Maybe we'll allow you to use that clip of Maddow or Tucker Carlson or frickin' Lemonhead. But you're just not going to make any money off of it.
No, Doku, well, here's the thing. That actually solves a major issue on the internet itself. Because what ended up happening back in the day, because even Internet Aristocrat brought this up like 3 years ago, whether you're dealing with Live Nation, Time Warner Music Group, like a lot of us, if we've uploaded something, all of a sudden you get like 5-10 views, all of a sudden, oh, you got a copyright strike, so you got to appeal it, you got to go through. What if there was a simple thing where, especially if you're a small channel...
It's never going to be a simple thing like that. Memes?
Why?
You're that's wishful
This
thinking.
legislation is promoting at least a free market to adapt to this.
Oh, it's not promoting the free market. It is stamping it.
Collaborations of different groups utilizing, saying this is items that I have used. This is
it's
now for fair use.
Anymore. Hold on a second. It's not individuals anymore. Now it's groups. Of course, they're the approved groups. All right, it isn't about an individual being able to do what he wants. All right,
I'm looking at it from
now, right?
Okay, no, there is regulation. That's the thing. There is definitely regulation. However, this regulation may streamline things. Yes, on an individualistic basis, could we go there and say
regulation ever streamlined anything?
No means it doesn't streamline anything. It makes it easier. It makes it easier. Like, let's say I use a Fox News clip, and Fox News doesn't like what I have to say. It makes it easier for them to go after me. You think the DMCA copyright system is bad now? All this legislation does is make it easier for a large media conglomerate, a group like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, to come and basically shut down any dissenting opinion they don't like.
So, and again, if you go back to, okay, let's say what happens. According to this legislation, based upon the scenario you were putting out, Doku, is, okay, I could use said Tucker Carlson clip. My thing goes up. However, the ads that are ended up being put on it, that revenue goes to Tucker Carlson, Fox News, whatever entity it may be. So is that necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're a smaller channel and you're just looking...
So they're going to benefit from the fact that they're reprobates?
No, what I'm saying is your clip stays up rather than being taken down, and if you have issue upon fair use, you could claim it with your clip remaining up. I see that as a positive thing.
I think, does the EU have fair use?
Yes. At least the UK does, but the UK is still technically in Europe.
Well,
I'm sorry, Justin.
Guess what Article 11 and 13 just did away with?
What's that?
Fair use.
Fair use.
Oh. Does it?
Yes.
Where?
It essentially provides it provides a backdoor to undermine fair use.
Let's give an example of what this happens. If I want to use a clip, all right, or a link, a hyperlink, all right, to show people what this article said on it, I can't do that without paying them a fee. And if I don't pay them a fee, they have the rights to sit up there and come after my video, all right, or go after YouTube, all right, for putting that link in there for unfair use in their minds. To them, they just killed what was normally considered fair use in the United States.
There is no reference in the Wikipedia article of fair use.
Really? The Wikipedia article would have represented this? Oh, but it didn't this time? So it doesn't exist? It does exist, memes.
Yeah, there is a hyperlink fee. If you want to use a link to an article, you have to share revenue. Let's see how much revenue you get when you're having to share it with groups like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC.
Rather than it being my video being used as a possible promotion site, as if this is free advertising, they are taking the stance that not only is it a free advertising, it's not yours at all, and therefore you shouldn't get any benefit from it.
And oh, by the way, if they don't like the criticism, they could just take you down.
So what's interesting about what we're talking about right here, Article 15, previously Article 11, extends the 2001 Copyright Directive to grant publishers direct copyright over online use of their press publications by information society service providers. Okay, so you would need an individual grant of usage from said publisher in order to link that.
From every freaking website that you link to, you're going to need, all right, some kind of arrangement with them, all right, on monetary terms in order to sit up there and post things. So taking a look at the AP, Reuters, CBS, NBC, CNBC, Sky News, BBC, all of these publishers, if I bring up any of their links, all right, Chicago News, I need to make a deal with each and every one of them.
So
they are entitled to the revenue that your video gets. And if they don't like what you have to say, do you think they're actually going to make a deal with you?
So you guys do realize that unless they arrange some form of streamline of usage, this essentially screws over all these publications, right? Because right now, no. How do these publications? How are they getting a lot of revenue? People throw their links out to the articles. People click on those links. They go to the site. They see the advertisements. Maybe they click on it. This is how BuzzFeed is operated. If people cannot actively share those links due to some financial impediment there, that if anything, that's going to promote a lot of the alternative media. You do realize, because all I do is, you know what? You guys can post my link anywhere. I want my link to be all over the internet because now I'm getting more eyeballs.
Silence anybody that disagrees with them or wants to comment on it.
Why?
And memes.
If you need a license to link, you're not having the link out there.
But memes,
how do they promulgate their content if people can't link it?
No, these large multimedia corporations already
I'm just putting this in an objective. It applies both ways.
No, it doesn't.
Why?
But these large publications already have YouTube channels. They already have
and unless it's a pertinent issue, CNN still usually gets, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10,000 views out of 3-4 million subscribers.
But they don't need individual content creators to sit there and promote them. Their shit's already promoted by YouTube to begin with. Go in and type any hot button issue into the search bar. The top 10 are always CNN, BBC, Sky News, Fox News. They don't need us to promote.
Well, they are organized organizations, and at least historically, they do have a track record of a certain level of accuracy as well. But the big thing...
But that's not the point. That's not the point, memes. The point here is that this fucks over the individual content creators, because now we can't comment on it.
What's stopping us?
We can't use...
Sticks comments every single day.
Article 11 and 13.
All I'm saying is, why? Sticks Hexenhammer has pushing, what, like 300,000-400,000 subscribers, and he doesn't... Yeah, he posts links and archives, but how would that stop him?
13. That's all before Article 11 and 13 memes. Trying to bring up Sticks and sitting there saying this is ridiculous.
Why can't you read an article without necessarily displaying it? People can seek it out on their own if they really care, MC, of Wise Man once told me that.
Because he has to link to it. Okay? In order for you
people can't search things for themselves?
People don't.
Well, I heard that was a problem.
In best case scenario, I don't link anything. And people are just going to have to take me at my word. And there's going to be people that come out of the woodwork, especially from these large multi-billion-dollar media conglomerates and corporations, that will just sit there. We've already seen what's happening with Covington. We've already seen what happened with Jesse Smollett. They're going to sit there, and they're just going to shit-talk you. They will not retract their statements. They will not correct themselves. They will smear the ever-living hell out of you, and there won't be a damn thing you can do about it, because if you try, well, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you can't use their material to rebut what their claims are, because if you do, either A, you got to pay them, and they could just turn around and deny you, or B, you just have to hope that your viewership actually trusts you and takes your word at it.
So, okay,
you can't even provide a citation.
Number one, let me ask you this. How often, upon listening to some of your more often viewed content creators, do you click on the links?
Hold on a second, memes. Right? When you go to college and you're doing a university paper, what do they require?
Oh, citation.
And they're telling you can't do it now.
Well, I mean, objectively, I think it's very silly.
Is that without citation, what do they claim it is?
Oh, they claim it's BS.
They claim it's plagiarism.
How the hell can a small creator, all right, compete with that now?
Because there are exceptions.
There's no exception. How can a small creator deal with this now?
I thought there were exceptions for certain userships or viewerships under a certain company level or revenue stream.
Nope. There are no exceptions with Article 11. Not one.
Well, except for this exception right here.
With
MC, let me
in Article 13.
Okay, so at least according to Wikipedia, again, I am only citing Wikipedia, the article I clicked on like 15 minutes ago. The version of the directive voted on by the European Parliament Committee on Legal Affairs contained explicit exemptions for the act of hyperlinking and, quote, legitimate private and non-commercial use of press publications by individual users, unquote. So what that reads to me, MC, is as long as you're not monetized, and you're just doing this privately, you can absolutely link.
Supposedly. All right, except for the fact that if you're running, I don't know, BitChute, or you're also linking this to Gab, or you're doing Streamlabs and receiving donations from it and everything else, then you're no longer doing that anymore, are you?
Well, now you're monetizing.
And at that point, they can take your revenue, can't they?
Okay.
Well, and more specifically, memes.
So your business,
think about it like this:
of criticizing these people,
where's the incentive?
Is now hammered.
Well, at that point, then you go under the part where it protects the press organizations.
And again, where's the incentive? Unless you're that dedicated.
There's the first question right there. Explain to me, memes, why the press organizations need to be protected.
Because it's the press. It's supposed to be the fourth estate.
Well, they're already multi-billion-dollar corporations. Why would they want to take away the financial incentive for anybody to criticize them? Or perhaps you agree with them. You're still going to have to reach out. You're still going to have to get their approval.
Yes.
If you take away any financial...
How often have we linked articles from a lot of these big media companies?
Well, again, if you take away any financial...
we do it every freaking day. So if they're not going to provide at least either free access to links or highly discounted fair use negotiated rates, these links will not promulgate. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's a two-edged sword. At that point, if you're going to stifle people from sharing things, they're going to lose out on promulgation.
No, they aren't. Because what happens is they're not making money on these links. They make it in other ways, specifically given to them for supporting the government.
Oh,
this is what you seem to not understand.
The $25 million that YouTube offered, or the lack of scrutinization by organizations?
All it's going to do is force it back into other areas that you have to sit up there and deal with for commercials in a commercial advertisement area. It's going to force it back into that realm.
Hold on, MC. I want to bring this up. What does Article 11 and 13 actually do? What has the mainstream media been losing their ever-living shit over ever since social media became a thing? Ever since their ratings started to go through the shitter? They're losing control of the narrative. More people are paying attention to people like Mark Dice, Gary Franchi, and Sargon of Akkad than they are to Rachel frickin' Mad Cow and Don Lemonhead. They're losing control of the narrative. What does Article 11 and 13 do? If I want to try to talk about something, if I want to try to break a story, I either have to do what Luke Kardowski does or what Tim Pool does and, grab my frickin' little GoPro, put on a gas mask, fly halfway across the world, and film a frickin' Yellow Vest protest by my damn self and produce my own content. I can't comment or criticize any of the major mainstream media outlets. What does it do? It hands the narrative back to the fucking BBC and the Sky News and the MSNBC and the Mad Cows and the Lemonheads. It allows them to reconsolidate control of the narrative. It screws over everybody else. Because you think they're really actually going to allow you to use their content, let alone criticize it?
So, Doku, I'm going to make a free market principle argument right here. Okay, so let's accept absolutely everything you said right there is absolutely true. That's how it ends up being implemented. Out of just strict necessity of how the market would be functioning now, what could stop us as individuals on the internet from speaking with other individuals, let's say, that are in France, that are in other places around the world, that may also have a connection to the internet and maybe first-hand sources.
Maybe the people who are saying, I don't like this content on the internet, so let's ban it. Maybe people who are saying, I don't like the fact that you give this channel. I consider you an alt-right channel, so we'll kill your channel. You don't think that has an effect on that, memes?
Well, that's the thing. Nothing's going to stop you from criticizing it, but here's the problem.
Why would they be able to do that?
Are they doing it now? Why are they doing it now, memes?
Are they just striking down just actual people on the ground?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Well, that would be a problem then.
It is. It is a problem.
It would be. It is, memes. It's all a part of the same thing.
Are some of these places that are being malaligned, are there reasons that may give people
for excuses to justify their censorship?
Because we're not specifying what we're talking about here. If you give your quote-unquote opponent ammunition, they're going to use it.
Well, memes, here's the bigger problem. Even if we don't, don't leak,
you hand them ammunition, so they're going to what, memes?
Oh, if you give any of your quote-unquote political opponents ammunition, I mean, they're going to use it on you. It's like when President Trump says silly things, they use it on him.
Can I use that against CNN and get CNN blocked from frickin' YouTube for pushing a false narrative?
Oh, you mean something that may be now known as a conspiracy theory? According to YouTube's terms of service, I believe they're trying to de-algorithmatize. No, that's a very interesting question, MC. I've thought about that myself.
Now stop it, memes. You've already seen Twitter where they come back and said, you said hate speech isn't supposed to be here, and then give 20 different examples of blue check marks that use the same kind of language, and none of them got banned, but the conservatives did.
Isn't Twitter getting sued?
That's because they have selective enforcement of their terms of service. This is nothing new. But here's the other thing. Let's say, okay, I don't quote or cite any MSNBC or CNBC or CNN or Fox News article.
Well, you can verbally say it. You're just not supposed to put the hyperlink there without notification if you're monetizing.
Let's say I don't. Let's say I don't. Let's just say I just ramble on like I usually do and just rant and give my opinion like I usually do. What's gonna fucking happen? There's going to be some large multimedia conglomerate. Maybe it's going to be the ADL. Maybe it's going to be CNN themselves. Maybe it's going to be the SPLC. They're just going to come back and slander, rebuttal. You drag me through the fucking mud. Drag me through the dirt. Because the fucking people that actually listen to these assholes and believe what the fuck they say are going to believe it. So if I can't cite something, if I can't directly provide a rebuttal, if I can't directly provide a source, what the hell am I going to be able to do?
Oh,
people are just going to have to take me at my word.
Couldn't you just list it on your website or like a launch page, or just have it aggregated somewhere else? Why not?
No, any link anywhere, not just on your YouTube video, any link you put anywhere, memes.
Well, apparently, does archiving prevent against this from happening?
Archiving does not. They were specific about that. So even the archive links, like because Styx Hexenhammer, he uses specifically archive links because he doesn't want any revenue going to these people. Okay, he has stated that in the past. All right, which I really don't care one way or another. I personally have no problem citing the exact thing. All right, what Styx was really worried about when it all began was how often, when they started getting hammered with this, all of a sudden it would disappear from their website. And he was like, oh no, we've got to come back and start proving that what I'm saying is true. He's looking to verify, look, I'm trying to say, look, I want to cite my sources. All right, that's all he was doing, was to prove himself correct. And yet what are they doing? They're not looking at it from that perspective. Oh, no. They're looking at it from, how can we prevent you from him, all right, from actually being able to be verified. It's the same thing that was happening. The same thing was happening with the quote-unquote climate deniers that were saying, where is all of this? Okay, when they were going and saying, well, it's not peer-reviewed. That's not a peer-reviewed paper, or that's not a peer-reviewed scientist. Doing was literally going out of their way saying, if you don't like our stuff and you're bitching about it, we're going to deny you publication of your work. That's what was happening, and it was proven. and the emails proved it. And yet you stand there and say, well, we give them this power over news media. They won't do it. Well, that could happen, even though it's happened every single time in the past. It may not happen this time.
MC, I rather than going down that that wormhole there, I'm willing to entertain the idea that that is 100% true. I'm just still arguing that, yes, if we go down that path where if you were starting to link it and you are monetizing...
go down that path, memes?
Okay, then wouldn't that not encourage people to be better? Don't hard times breed hard people? Like, isn't that the whole, like, how we get better, we adapt and overcome as human beings?
You want the war for independence again. You want people dead on the streets.
No, I'm offering at least a perspective on perhaps a better path than rather going down that. Because MC, this is where you and I agree. I wouldn't mind a convention of states.
Leading to this, memes. The path you're suggesting is going to guarantee it happens.
Will it?
Yes.
All right, I'll take that as a passionate response.
More likely than not. And no, memes, here's the fucking problem. CNN could come out with an article and say, well, Doku's a 6'2" woman with double D's and is into bestiality.
I mean, I'm sure I can find an artist for that.
Oh, God. But I can say that I'm not. Yeah, I can say that to the end of my fucking days. But I can't link the article, and I guarantee you, because of the way a decent amount of people, enough people, because they still think fucking CNN and MSNBC and all the other mainstream media fucking outlets are quote credible, which they're fucking not, would fucking sit there and believe it. And the only way I would be able to provide a rebuttal is you literally have to take me at my word. I'm not a 6'2" woman. I don't have double D's, and I'm not into bestiality. But I won't be able to cite the article. I won't even be able to. I won't even be able to prove that CNN or MSNBC or Fox News even wrote the fucking article. And if I did, and they allowed me to even fucking do it, first they would have to agree to it, and I'd have to fucking pay them for it.
So again, Doku, I go back to, is there anything stopping from an individual? Because even on like Fox News, even on CNN, even on MSNBC, they will say, according to, they cite their source verbally, they don't necessarily have all their sources linked right there. If we're doing a video, and then if you actually want to have a source linked, why can you not actually archive it somewhere else? And or if you're just simply citing to it, dude, the internet is forever, man. If all of a sudden something gets updated or deleted, like that raises more questions, man. It's the Streisand effect.
As soon as you cite it,
yeah,
archive it, they can hit it.
Well, I'm not saying you link it there. You could link it. Well,
actually, put a link anywhere for it, including the archives, because they were very specific about that. Okay, you are subject to their rules and regulations, and they get to decide. All right, and this is the problem, memes. They're taking the same thing. All right, let me go back to something. All right, you remember, all right, back in the day, there was the big thing about rap, all right, where rap was stealing, basic riffs from people's music. All right, and it went to court here in the United States, and the court struck it down and said, no, what they're doing is transformational, therefore it's not part of the copyright, even though they were using riffs from music anywhere. You're now saying the same thing applies, all right, to the internet when it comes to to these articles. However, yes, those riffs, even if it's transformational, are still copyrighted, and those content creators now, they owe these people money.
MC, all I'm saying right here is, according
all you're doing is ignoring and just trying to play double-ended game here and be the
you mean play devil's advocate to two folks that are absolutely railing against it? No, because what I'm saying, dude, is again, you're giving an extremely dark interpretation, which may absolutely come to pass.
I'm giving you examples of what has come to the past in the past where it has happened.
I'm just saying, even if it was intended for that, I'm saying laws often have unintended consequences. And all I'm saying
the
right here,
unintended consequences in this case are the intended
the
ones.
key goals of the directive are protecting press publications, and this is what I would argue.
Not.
So what happens when somebody on YouTube, somebody like us, Sargon claims to be a press publication?
Who says that the key goal is to protect these publications?
The Wikipedia article, like they're at least citing what the goals of the directive are. Hold on, I'll find the actual EU directive.
These are the goals, and we have the ACA and the Patriot Act. We're all sort of trying to keep you safe. Oh, no, this is what our goals are. We would never be doing it for some other purpose. No, no, no. See, we're going to make healthcare more affordable, even though it jacked up the price of healthcare for everybody.
All right.
We're making it more affordable. We're making it more affordable for everybody, even though knowing that this has happened in the past, knowing every time you come in with government regulations, the prices of whatever it is goes up. They were going to use a government regulation and lower the prices and lowered it for nobody, instead jacked up the prices on everybody, and they call it the Affordable Care Act. Our goal was to reduce prices. Our reality is we jacked it up on everybody.
Well, MC, let me read at least the first paragraph of the Digital Single Market Policy Copyright Directive.
They say.
Well, this is according to, as we can see, https://ec.europa.eu/digital-single-market/en/copyright. So it says the policy copyright. First paragraph says, digital technologies have radically changed the way creative content is produced, distributed, and accessed. We are adapting the EU copyright rules to new consumer behaviors in a Europe which values its cultural diversity. Second paragraph.
They are doing it to demonstrate not their cultural diversity. They're trying to stamp out intellectual diversity. That has always been the goal. As soon as somebody says, "Oh, we're talking about cultural diversity," what they mean is a single thought process that no one else can deviate from.
They can't just say something nice about people.
They can't say something nice, but they just said that was their goal.
I'm not sure necessarily what cultural diversity has to do with copyright law, but I mean they're just giving a shout out to a diverse Europe.
Yeah. They're giving a shout out. They're giving a shout out to look. We're pleasant and we're trying to be helpful. And look, we want to have things more diverse, and we all want to live in freedom land. La 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 la. But if you look behind the curtain and you start to see odds, well, you've got to be exterminated.
Well, MC, seeing as you took that from the term cultural diversity within the first paragraph, as I thought it may slightly trigger you, which is why I wanted to read that. Let's go on to the second paragraph. So,
more things that you think I'm not going to get triggered by?
Oh, no. I am sure. That's why we want you here. So, copyright ensures that authors, composers, artists, filmmakers, and other creators receive recognition, payment, and protection for their works. It rewards creativity that stimulates investment in the creative sector. 33 seconds.
Stimulates in the creative sector.
Yes.
Is there a problem where they're not? No. So what are you trying to actually do? There's not a problem with creativity on the internet right now.
So MC, so thank you for letting me get through two sentences. So let me finish the last sentence in the paragraph. 33 sectors of the EU economy are considered copyright intensive, accounting directly for over 7 million jobs, or 3% of employment in the EU. So this is where I go back to a lot of things on the internet. It's like, dude, we have the technology. If someone comes up with a good idea, whether it's on an image board, a frickin' forum, YouTube, Twitter, wherever it is, if somebody puts out a good idea, we can timestamp that. We can see where it actually came from. And if we have the ability to give credit where credit's due, that's why I think a lot of folks don't want to do something like, oh, if I put something out there, someone else will steal my idea. They'll end up patenting it.
Really? What about the guys who want to put out something like freeware, all right, to show you how to sit up there and make a gun?
Okay. That's knowledge.
What happens to them?
Well, I believe this. Okay. Is there still pending legislation?
That's the same thing as copyright, right? It's still a copyright issue. It's still a copyright thing, but the government comes out of the woodwork to stamp it and not let it go out, now, doesn't it?
That is a bit more of an extreme case, MC, and that is over here based in the States.
But it's valid.
No, it is. No, you are correct. You are correct. I am not arguing with that, MC. It's just, again, the law always lags behind technology. This is also a U.S.-based case.
The law, instead of the law in this case allowing for more freedom, it's allowing for less.
What was the actual ruling? Where are we at right now?
The ruling right now is they're still arguing about it. I mean, there's still things going on.
So we're going through due process. Okay.
Due process as far as what goes. It's still banned in Spain.
Okay.
And in many other countries.
Could that be because those other countries don't have the Second Amendment?
Will be banned in those countries as well.
Oh, but we can still make it. And again, we have that benefit of, like,
we
have constitutional privilege.
But as soon as I link it, all right, they will come after me now. This is giving them a mechanism. It's giving them the club with which they can beat me with.
Well, isn't this the crux of, like, what we're talking about right now? Will these large platforms, or whatever they are at this point, publishers even in some respects, what will they end up doing? Will they end up going through actually putting in potential costly upload filters, or will they simply pull themselves out of Europe?
Once again,
because they could always just pitch it over to the EU and be like, "Listen, this isn't a thing for us. Like we're like the majority of our market is across the rest of the world. They should put it on Europe and say the ISPs need to do this. The ISPs need to come with a filter. If they kick it back to them,
the tool means this gives them the tool. If they attempt to say that, to take that and say that's okay, you cannot follow our rules. Here's your fine. Here's your fine. Here's your fine. Here's your fine.
Well, at that point, then they just cut off content provision to Europe. Why would you take all those, like, millions and billions of dollars in fines? Why wouldn't you just say, all right, you know what? It's too costly to do business in Europe. We're sorry, guys. We're going to do like we did with Google News in Spain. Because Google, dude, something like this passed in Spain. Google News pulled right out of Spain. What's to stop Google and YouTube from pulling out? I'm not sure folks in Europe would be happy. Yeah, but dude, what do you think the people are going to be like? Dude, I want to watch my cat videos. I want to watch my Sargon. I want to listen to MC rant. Listen, they're getting to vote for their MEPs. And if you vote for new MEPs and then they change the legislation back,
pull out of China.
Not yet. I don't think.
No. Not only didn't they pull out of China, they capitulated and put in filters that China was demanding. That's the same thing that's going to happen.
They were exploring an idea that seems to have caused a lot of a kerfuffle within the company itself.
Did they? Has anything changed? Oh, the kerfuffle. Oh, look at this. They're doing something. They're standing up for free speech. Has anything changed yet? Well, no, but they're standing up. I swear to God, they're standing up for free speech. Did they quit over that? No, they haven't quit
CEO of Google just met with President Trump this past week.
Yeah. Well, what's come out of it so far?
Well, it's been like 3 days.
What's come out of it?
You know, there's an even bigger issue here. And it's something I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but it's something that really disturbs me. So let's say I'm Nick Sandman. Let's say I'm one of the Covington kids, and a hit piece gets written about me, and it gets smeared all over the fucking media. It's on primetime news. It's on every fucking article. That's on every bullshit piece of crap propaganda outlet, regardless if it's on their website or if it's on YouTube or if it's some just random jack off. And I want to come out and say, like, hey, look, no, this is bullshit. I didn't do this. I'm just sitting here smiling. I didn't approach this guy. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. How many people do you think are actually going to go and do their due diligence and actually look and see what the fuck actually happened and draw their own conclusions and their own opinions and think for themselves? How many fucking people do you think are going to do that? And if I want to fucking challenge the narrative,
I think this goes back to if what you said is true, aren't a lot of these major media platforms like shooting themselves in the foot? Because if they're not getting to share like an MSNBC article,
again,
like you're losing promulgation, you're losing free marketing. It just seems silly to me.
Are they? When you're a monopoly.
So is Kyle Kalinske going to be able to share an MSNBC Twitter link, and then like you won't because you're conservative and Kyle Kalinski's progressive? That seems like discrimination to me, man, which...
You're seeing them discriminate now on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, and nothing has happened. Nothing has changed them. You've had people who came out like that nitwit frickin' what's his name? The Blaze guy.
Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck, right? Go on about how he was going to go talk to Facebook about how conservatives were being throttled and how all this is happening. And he came back talking all this smack about how, oh, I talked to them. They really want to do the right thing. Did they ever do the right thing?
MC, what are we taking this into regards to?
Did they ever start not hammering conservatives? Did they ever stop shadow banning conservatives?
Didn't some feminists start getting banned because they were using the term men instead of like masculine or something like that?
No, a few of
on
them may
Facebook.
Have.
No. There were folks getting like that's the thing. It does start coming back the other way.
A few of them may have. They will always throw out the sacrificial lamb and say, "Look, we're doing it this way too," but still allowing tons and tons and tons, just like the blue check marks, all right, them being on there, all right, where they may sacrifice one here or there, where they'll sacrifice every conservative.
So I'm
saying that happened with the Tea Party when they were going for their IRS things, where the IRS came back and said they're not the only ones that did it. They pointed out they could only point out one organization that was leftist that they did it. Every single Tea Party member got it though. Every single one.
I thought there were like 6.
Let me point something. Let me point something out.
There were literally over 80.
Okay.
Hold on, MC. Hold on, MC. Memes. Let me point something out. Going back to my Nick Sandman example. Let's say the BBC comes out and wants to write a hit piece on me. Actually, I'll just use myself. Let's say the BBC comes out, wants to write a hit piece on, some random jack-off named Doku on the internet, some random asshole with an opinion. Under Article 11 and Article 13, I have 4 particular options. 1, people that know me could just take me at my word. I won't be able to cite my sources. They'll have to go find it themselves. So just take me at my word. BBC wrote a hit piece on me. 2, I can ask the BBC to cite the source, and they can either tell me to fuck off, or I have to pay them. Or the final option, I can just let them fucking slander me and not give a shit.
So
how
are they slandering you? Like when they need to show your likeness or things you've done, which is your copyrighted material, which they would need to ask permission for.
Did they need to do that with Sandman?
No, they could just say
that wasn't
like,
the EU
I don't
directive.
know. They could just say like I'm a freaking pedophile or something.
Did they do that to you?
They could pull whatever they want.
Slander or libel.
Yeah, they could pull whatever they want out of their ass.
Did they do
but
that?
how am I going to challenge them? Am I going to be able to go up against the BBC?
What I'm saying is, Doku, how are they able to do that? Because this cuts both ways, man. This is what I'm saying. In order to use any of your work or clips or anything, they're going exiled opinions. They're going to need to ask you for that. What's stopping you from saying you could happily write a hit piece? You're gonna have to pay me $50,000. That's what I'm saying, man.
They're going to. No, you don't have the lawyers. You don't have the lawyers to go in there and start a lawsuit like that.
There are no lawyers on YouTube.
Oh yes, there are lawyers on YouTube, but you've got to sit up there and pay a lawyer. How many people can afford to pay a lawyer for a lawsuit such as this?
I can't. Someone could write a hit piece on me right fucking now.
If somebody completely hammers you, you couldn't start a Kickstarter? Somebody for you couldn't start it? If you're getting really hammered and it's a complete travesty of justice, man?
For example, if I get hammered right now, I have 107, 106 subs, something like that. Okay? To start a Kickstarter and actually get enough to actually pay a lawyer to even read my case, let alone do anything else. Come on, let's be honest here, memes. It doesn't work that way, and you know it.
I thought that was where principles were supposed to kick in.
These people don't have fucking principles. They're worried about fucking clicks. They're worried about clickbait. They're worried about keeping their ratings up. And the one fucking dude, I forget his name, when he was talking on CNN about Trump. So when he was talking to fucking Little Brad Stelter,
Mark Dice.
Like let's. Well, yeah, that's not who I'm talking about though. I'm talking about an old CNN contributor. Hold on, real quick, MC. An older CNN contributor. Let's talk about what it's really about. It's about fucking money. It's about money. Trump is good for fucking ratings. They fucking know it. They love it. They love the sensationalism. Do you think, for the second, if I ever caught the eye of, the Mary Sue or fucking Kotaku or, God forbid, CNN or MSNBC, if I ever caught the eye the same way that PewDiePie has or fucking Mark Dice, and these people actually really wanted to go after me under Article 11 and 13, do you really think I would be able to defend myself against them without maybe someone like Rakita Law coming out and doing a fucking GoFundMe? Do you think I would be able to actually fucking defend myself against these fucking large multi-billion-dollar media conglomerates, especially with the fucking kind of protections afforded to them by Article 11 and 13? Sure as shit no.
Doku, I would argue as long as you still had a platform, I think you personally could do a pretty decent job.
Well, once again, as long as you had a platform, who gives us the platform?
Oh, right now, like mostly YouTube, the Twitters, and stuff like that.
In other words, the leftists in this case are the ones controlling both ends of this spectrum.
Yeah, what happens if YouTube just decides I'm too much of a liability and they just decide to fucking nix me off the platform altogether? And I can't. I'm already banned off fucking Twitter for making an edgy joke.
Do you need a video hosting source? Because I think I have access to tools.
What good is that going to do me?
Well, I mean, if the New York Times or Wall Street Journal write a hit piece about you, all of a sudden you just gained attention. People are going to be Googling, looking that up wherever that are. You're getting attention for better or worse.
What is the advantage of going to YouTube?
Oh, it's an open market of videos on a number of different topics.
That's not it. What's the advantage?
Oh,
why do people go here? You have Gab does the same thing. You have Minds does the same
Gab
thing.
Gab is slightly different. Oh, because that's where most of the people are. The market.
Well, also,
why are people here? What is it that makes it useful?
Oh, it's also probably the best integrated video platform there is.
It's the search ability. Okay, it's how fast you can do this, how it's conglomerated together. It's the search capabilities and the history that it already has established.
It's got a track record.
All right, that makes it not as track record goes. It's searchability. It's not its track record. It's the searchability features that make it more useful than almost every other platform. Why?
Well, and also memes. I'm one random guy on the internet. I'm one random fucking dude on the internet. If somebody decided they wanted to ruin my reputation, regardless if it's slander or not, how many views do I get? How many people actually know me? How many people actually know who the fuck I am? Do you think I'm going to be able to go up against CNN?
If CNN did a hit piece on you and then they actually heard your actual words and arguments in an aggregate, I'd say you'd get a lot of traffic in and of yourself. And yes, if you did manage to beat any potential bans or something, yeah, I think you would be able.
If you have the money to do this, if you have the money to do that.
Well, it's the same argument you have about what will happen with that. Those things definitely could come to pass. I'm arguing they may not.
They could bury me if they wanted to.
Because history tells you that it will happen.
Is it an injustice?
Well, that's the thing.
Wonderful.
CNN already
has injustices begin, and we go down to the Civil War route.
Well, the prerequisite to political stability is social justice, and that injustice will not stand. Doesn't matter what the form is.
And you want to increase injustice.
Here's the thing. CNN already has enough viewers and enough credibility. Well, I say credibility very, very, very loosely. But people know CNN. People know fucking Lemonhead. They know Cooper. They know Stelter. They know Maddow. Who do you think they're gonna fucking believe? My reputation would be burned to the ground in an hour.
So CNN,
no one would fucking
6.4 million subscribers. 50 minutes ago, 930 views, 1.2k views, 8.5k.
Let's take this to a smaller venue.
96.
I'm not Mark Dice. I'm not Steven Crowder. I'm not fucking Gary Franchi.
let's
if they
talk
wanted
about,
to burn me, if they wanted to burn me at the stake, they could do it in a fucking heartbeat.
Let's
That's
take
the
something,
fucking problem.
Let's take this back to a smaller realm. Back to a comment that I did when I did a commentary on Thunderfoot. Okay, when I sit up there and went after Thunderfoot because of his inability to truly understand chemical weapons and how they can and cannot be utilized. All right, when I sit up there and put out my video, there was, all right, from fans of Thunderfoot. All right, and what was their comment? Well, he's a scientist. What the hell would you know about any of this? Even though everything that I put in there was completely checkable and accurate, I had people coming back questioning why I would say things about him and who am I to sit up there and dare challenge the great Thunderfoot?
Well, because they know and trust
All right,
him.
now he know and trust him, but did they know me? Did they trust me? Did they even
Not
take my
yet.
word or even go back to check to see whether or not what I was saying was valid or not? And yet you're
That's what I
trying
was
to
talking
say
about earlier. These
Yes.
people don't do their fucking research. They don't do their due diligence. They just hear something and immediately believe it's fucking true because they're fucking lazy.
Isn't
And
that
in
that
this- and
cyto feedback loop that Tim Pool was talking about or
and
something?
and then in this case specifically, do I have the support? All right, that Thunderfoot has. Can I sit up there and push, saying, "Wait a minute here, he could now strike me because I mentioned and linked his video. Because I linked his video, now he could strike me and say, "Wait a minute, I'm taking this guy's content." All right. Simply because he put a link in there to try and show people what I was doing and beat me to the punch about it. That's what you're basically saying on a smaller scale. All right, what's going to happen on an even larger scale? It's even more draconian. And for you to say memes that, well, that could happen. I mean, historically it's happened, but that doesn't mean that it will. Is pie in the sky wishful thinking.
So what's the
that's the thing,
incentive of these large companies? Do they not want their content shared?
That's exactly not by us. They don't.
Why?
They don't need their
Because-
content shared. Go type in anything. Go type in anything right now. That's a hot button issue.
That's a good point.
So if that's a blatant partisanship of some sorts, then that will be displayed. And if it's displayed, people will say, "What? That's what I'm saying. If it gets it out in the
And when
open and people
get
say,
displayed, so in other
market
words,
will have to
your
adapt
revenue-
to it."
Your solution here is when the revolution comes, I wasn't responsible. I was just supporting this. bill,
I'm
but I wasn't
not a big
responsible
fan
for
of
reducing
Articles
freedom of
11 and
speech.
15, but if this is what's to
Yes.
come to pass, I'm just looking for some silver lining here, and I'm just saying that that's what could happen.
Okay, your
there is
silver
If it makes
lining-
things
there
so
is no silver
blatant,
lining.
Silver lining is a civil war and many people dead. What a wonderful silver lining.
all
Gotta
right.
hold
Thank,
on,
thank
hold
you,
on.
Kathy Newman. That's fine. Go on,
Hold
Goku.
on. Yeah, there is no silver lining here. The large multimedia conglomerates, they don't need us to share their shit. Go into the YouTube search bar right now. Type in immigration, type in Mueller, type in Trump, type in anything. Tell me what the top 10 search results are. If you can find one that isn't some sort of multimedia conglomerate, find me one that isn't MSNBC or CNN or Fox or Sky News.
Considering that memes is always checking my channel out, I may appear. Depending on how the algorithm is written for him.
Yeah, they don't need us.
The first alternative I found was Saturday Night Live.
See, this is my point.
There's a lot of
They
MSNBC.
Yeah, they don't need us.
BS.
They're
Oh, I got
already
Sky. I got
favored.
Sky News. There we go. It's like probably like 16 down.
Fox News,
See,
MSNBC.
that's the thing. They're already
They're
already favored. They do not need us.
on MSNBC till you get the one that says the pledge.
Wait
Yeah,
a
they
sec.
don't need us.
Oh, the
That's
Brookings
Sky News.
Institute.
They don't
I don't
need
know what
Article
that is.
I'm still waiting
Yeah,
for you.
they
to
don't
find-
need
he's right.
Article 11. They don't need Article 13. They don't need us.
We have
to
Vice.
promote them.
We have
They're
Vice.
Already... Oh God. But yeah, they don't need us to promote them. They don't need us to drive
We got
web
Jimmy
traffic to
Kimmel.
them. They're already favored. They're already favored
They,
by
NBC,
the large Silicon Valley corporations. They do not need us.
MSNBC.
Period.
Jimmy Kimmel Live.
The only
Uh-oh.
thing this does,
Fox
the
News,
only thing
CBS.
Article
The New York
We got
Times.
PBS.
the only thing Article 11 and 13 does
Oh, we
is
got the
give
view.
further protections. It only gives
I like
further
the view.
protections to these large multimedia conglomerates. Whether it's Vice, whether it's BuzzFeed, whether it's fucking Vox,
think he
whether
proved
it's
his
fucking
point,
CNN, MSNBC, they do not need us to
another
promote
Vice.
them. The only thing,
Have you
this
found-
does,
Oh, we got the Daily Show with Trevor Noah.
yeah,
Full
the
content
only
creator
thing,
yet.
the only fucking thing this does is if we want to actually link and cite our sources so that we can give a decent rebuttal so that people know we're not bullshitting and we can actually back up what the hell it is we have to say so that our viewers don't have to take us at our word, is it gives them the fucking revenue and it removes any incentive for content creators to actually fucking create content and challenge the narrative and point out the bullshit that these fucking people spew. Because they fucking flat out lie. They lie constantly, and they won't, half the time, they won't even fucking retract their statements. And if we fucking want to actually give a rebuttal or actually point out why they're fucking lying, either A, we can get copyright stricken for it, or B, we lose our revenue and we lose any fucking incentive and just say, you know what, fuck it. Why do I even bother? Why should I even try? Unless I actually really give a fuck about trying to actually tell people what's actually going on.
What are you going to do when they're told that we consider smoking, and therefore we're going to ban anybody that we see smoking on the internet?
Oh, well, I'm screwed right now.
I see you
I
pulling
need to
out
quit
that
anyway.
reference.
Is that a veiled ad hom reference here? I somewhat take it, but the principle remains: smoking is bad.
But so memes, I have to ask you a question.
It wasn't an ad hominem attack. I'm being serious.
But no, memes, I have to ask you a question
here.
here.
They will do that. They have those kind of draconian kinds of ways of dealing with this kind of stuff.
Well, you know what? That's why folks like me
hold
argued against even like campus restrictions. Like, I had quit smoking at the time. I'm on campus. It's like, we want you to write an argument against something. It's like, all right, they're talking about banning cigarettes anywhere on campus. I'm like, dude, if you're outside and stuff, I mean, it's a freedom. I didn't smoke at the time. Hell, I hated cigarette smoke at the time, but I still had to argue for it just because it's like you're restricting people's rights. And
but
it's like,
hold on, memes. Hold on, MC. Sorry, memes. I have to ask you two questions here. Under Articles 11 and 13, first, who do they benefit? And second, does it protect us, or does it protect these large multimedia conglomerates that are already favored by the fucking platforms that we supposedly use, that are supposed to benefit us, supposed to benefit independent content creators, but yet somehow the first 10 to 20 to 30 to sometimes 50 search results are all large multi-billion-dollar media conglomerates. If you're lucky, maybe you'll find Mark Dice. Who does this benefit? Who does it protect?
Well, seeing as neither Articles 11, 13/15 are actually law at this time in Europe,
they are law as in Europe.
The individual nations need to write their own directives in the next 2 years.
The implementation hasn't taken place, but it's law.
Okay, I would argue, who does it benefit? It completely shakes up the current meta. That's a given right there. I would argue it could benefit us.
Can't
How?
benefit us.
Because of what I just laid out. Because if somebody's going to cite something or write a hit piece on us, we would need to be approached for our likeness, for anything that we're putting out there as far as our content goes to be used. No, MC, let me just finish. Let me finish my thought here. And what that also does is, if they are only going to allow certain folks to use their links to their material license-free, and other folks are being charged, that would be just apparent discrimination, which would point out any of this discrimination, which, if it's an injustice, that will not come to pass, and it will be in the public eye.
It will come to pass. You act like injustices that are pointed out are immediately rectified.
Oh, not always. We're imperfect creatures.
What do you mean not always? It's almost never. It's not a matter of not always. It's a matter of, if you look around the world, it's almost never.
So why do you think you see
let
the
me ask
rise
you-
of a lot of more nationalistic groups and stuff like that? Why do we think this is happening?
It's happening.
Okay, Memes, let me ask you a question. The BBC decides to write an article. They say, Doku is a black man. I'm not, but let's just say they say that.
I preferred your earlier example. Although you could be a 6'2" black woman that's very voluptuous as well.
Yeah, I would go with triple D's at that point, but neither here nor there. But no, they could write an article like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to propose a rebuttal. Either someone's going to have to go.
How do you think that story would make them look?
No matter how.
That's not the point.
Because
I wouldn't be able to.
Doesn't matter a company's image.
No, because another company.
So is that why Rachel Maddow is down 500,000 viewers?
But that's Memes. That's not my point. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to link. I wouldn't be able to link the article and put a rebuttal out there without first getting the permission of whoever wrote it. And even if they gave me permission, which I highly doubt they would because, well, I'm a bit of an asshole, they would get all the revenue from it.
So you don't have the ability to show your email requesting your denial of said ability to use. You wouldn't be able to highlight that. And if that happened thousands or tens of thousands of times, that might not be viewed as an issue, especially if other folks are receiving preferential treatment.
It wouldn't be memes because no one else would know it. Thousands of times all over the place. But if you're not aware that it's happening, then it doesn't happen, does it?
People aren't aware of injustices happening?
They see, in certain cases, yes, but it still doesn't fix it. Look at the injustice that just went down freaking in Chicago.
Yeah, there have been a lot of African Americans, brothers and sisters, that have had injustices done to them a long time. It took a long time, but you know what? We've made progress. There's still work to be done.
We made progress, all right, but now we're reverting back.
Okay.
They're saying that injustice that happened just now, all right, is an example of finally getting back some of ours. Is that what you want?
Well, that sounds vengeful. No, this is my problem with some of the folks that are kind of on the left at times. It's like, okay, I believe in social justice. Social justice and that whole intersectionality principle, that should be used as a shield to defend those who may be weak, who may be oppressed, who may have been historically oppressed. But as soon as you reforge that shield into a sword to simply smite down those you disagree with, that ain't fucking right. Because in the pursuit and hunt of monsters, be careful lest becoming monsters ourselves.
Hold on, MC. Hold on, Memes. Hold on, MC. Memes. This is what I was talking about earlier. If that media group, if they wanted to write the hit piece, I'm not talking about what it would do to the reputation. I'm not talking about whether they're lying or whether maybe I am into bestiality. Who the fuck knows? That's not my point. My point is, you see CNN. You see MSNBC, you see the BBC, you see a brand. And there are plenty of fucking people out there who will immediately accept that as truth. Look at the Vic Mignogna thing that's going on right now. I don't know if you've been following that. It's very, very, very fucking easy to screw someone over and destroy their reputation, whether it's a lie or whether it isn't.
He lost his job.
Yeah, whether it's a lie or whether it's not. In the current media,
he's filing a countersuit or litigation against them.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that this dude's reputation has been completely fucking tarnished. Even if he's completely exonerated, there is going to be a stain on his reputation. This dude's going to have to go through all sorts of bullshit that is completely unnecessary, all because a few people decided they didn't like him.
That happened to the Duke lacrosse team too.
Yeah, exactly, and they didn't do anything wrong. But then you didn't hear the media talk about that after that was found.
Yeah,
to be
well, they did, and that seemed to be a complete travesty. I heard about it
in passing, or you've heard about it because you were looking for it.
No, I saw it on the news and stuff. I'm pretty sure CNN did cover that. No. What I will acknowledge is the outrage and stuff that was happening
just the
before
outrage.
more was
How many-
revealed. The
How
actual
many times?
the actual covering of it being basically essentially a
In
hoax.
in the coverage of it, all right? How much time did they give the coverage of it versus the coverage of the exoneration?
Oh no, it was completely disproportionate.
This is my point, and you know what? I will give Tim Pool credit here on this one because he's 100% correct. When people read an article, like with the Covington kids, they read the article. They never, if they decide to issue a retraction or an apology or update the article, and no one goes back to reread that. They fucking hear what they've heard and they accept it as truth, and that's that. And then they move on with the rest of their lives because they get their news in fucking 60 minutes. They work 9 to 5, then they fucking watch football for fucking 2 hours, and then they go to bed and they get on with the rest of their lives. They just assume that what they heard was fucking truth. People like you, me, MC, everybody else, we actually stay up to date on shit. Most fucking people don't. So it would be extremely easy for a media conglomerate like BBC or CNN or who the fuck ever to just say something stupid and completely fucking drag us through the mud, and people would fucking believe it. So again, I ask you the question: who benefits from Article 11 and 13? It's not even implemented yet, and we can already see who the social media conglomerates favor. That's why I asked you, type in any hot button issue on the fucking YouTube search bar. They do not need us. They do not need our support. They do not need our advertisement. They do not need our publicity. They do not need us talking about them. They're promoted enough.
So you guys do realize that I believe the FTC as well as probably the FCC, they are actually looking into the issue right now of Silicon Valley and the treatments of folks and everything.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful that the U.S. is finally starting to look at this. Although, to be honest, having the government do this looking into it from a fairness standpoint, we'll see what they come out with. All right, but that doesn't affect the EU in any way, shape, or form. Does it?
If there ends up being something along the lines of, at least if something comes out along the lines of, basically you are U.S. firms, we have laws in the United States, and if you are going to continue to promote yourself as a platform, then you need to let alternative views and free speech, again, short of inciting violence or other things as ruled by the Supreme Court, those things end up being allowed. Like, or if that
how has that affected Google when it comes to China?
Oh, well, again, I haven't seen any definitive reports. They say Operation Dragonfly or Project Dragonfly, whatnot, has been put on the back burner. Again, I've heard contesting things on that, and again, that is.
In other words, it hasn't, because the Great Wall of China still exists, doesn't it?
Okay, and that wall has been there for a long time. It is an architectural marvel.
Oh, that wall was created. I'm not talking about the actual wall, you ninny.
Oh, yeah. I assume you're talking about the firewall, but they are both very impressive walls.
Google will adjust the way it operates to continue to operate within those regions. So Google in China does not operate the same way it does in the United States. And under Article 11 and 13 and 17 in the EU, Google will change shit up so that it can continue to operate, or it will just pull out completely. Or it will just ban people like you, me, and MC. But they'll do whatever they have to do, because at the end of the day, they're a corporation. They're in it to make money. So again,
and I go back to why would they be banning us? Are we giving them the ability to...
Why is Twitter banning people now?
Well, I would say that that meeting on the Joe Rogan podcast with Jack, the head of Trust and Safety, and his attorney, along with Tim Pool, that's stuff that's out there that they put into the public, and those public statements made may end up. All I know is Twitter. I thought they had like a $250,000 or $100-something million lawsuit against them. Again, like, there is due process in the United States, or at least there is supposed to be due process. And as long as we do have any type of active cases, any active investigations, I still gotta go back and.
In other words, we gotta trust other people with deep pockets to fix this.
No, memes.
Donald Trump is president of the United States right now. We do have President Trump, so I'm factoring in the people in positions of power.
Well, memes. Great. I gotta ask you again, and I'm going to give you two options. Who benefits the most from Article 11 and Article 13? Individual content creators or large multimedia conglomerates?
In the current meta, large media conglomerates. In the new meta, that's yet to be seen, man. I would argue this, because it does actually say, at least according to the Wikipedia page, to promote competition and stuff, as well as if in some ways it says you want some of the profits from large ISPs to go down to the content creators as well. That's what they're saying. If that's what they're saying, if that's not what happens, then that will pass.
I don't care what they're saying. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. How's that?
Memes. Competition amongst who? Competition between Fox News and CNN, or competition between people like us and large multimedia conglomerates?
Again,
who benefits?
I would argue. I would argue. It's like, why would you shoot yourself in the foot and charge to post your links?
Here's the question. Here's the problem.
I just don't see how that works.
Your argument is based on, well, they said this. Well, what does history show you? That's not your argument. Your argument isn't what history shows you. What they'll do. Your argument is, well, they told me it was good, okay, and yet you're willing to take their word for it over ours. What does that tell you, memes?
Okay, memes. Let me present this in a different way, and I'll use Temple. I'll use Styx Hexenhammer. I'll use Sargon of Akkad. Look at any of the individual content creators. They talk about articles. They talk about what other people have said, and they provide their commentary.
Yeah.
Now, if suddenly I either cannot comment on this because that's their content under Article 11 and 13, I would technically need their permission to do so. I would have to provide them with at least some of the revenue that comes from it, or I can do what Luke Kordowski does, grab a camera and film my own shit on the ground. How many individual content creators are going to benefit from Articles 11 and 13 versus how much do groups like the BBC and CNN and Fox News stand to gain from it?
So
who does it benefit?
So Doku, right there. And again, I would make the free market argument of that this will promote the organization of alternative media into actually well-run, quote-unquote, functioning groups. Maybe I should change the quote-unquote down to functioning.
Once again, memes, in order to get that big, we then all of a sudden have to sit up there and figure out a way to get enough revenue to be able to compete with that against these rules that are hampering us because they're governmental rules. Monopolies are created, all right, not from competition. Monopolies get created because of governmental interference, and that's what you're doing. Increasing governmental interference to remove all the other people who could dare challenge these larger groups, which they have chosen now as agencies that support the government. So therefore, we're going to use the government's force, all right, to help impose those rules. Okay, and in this case, it's affecting freedom of speech.
It's not illegal to be a monopoly. It's illegal to operate as a monopoly. There is a difference. Monopolies get operated. Monopolies get operated and created by the government. Okay, we'll see. This is one of those things that we need to define right here as well, because very often we keep shifting back to U.S. examples. We're speaking specifically things that will affect members of the EU states within the next 2 years.
You just said that it's wrong for things to act as a monopoly. considering what they did to Sargon, considering what they did to Alex Jones, were they acting as a monopoly?
I mean, personally, I think that has to do with the Choke Point Act, which has been cited by a particular Republican member of Congress about 5 years ago as potentially being abused in potential ways such as this. Oh, no. I would say there are definitely examples. That's a U.S. legislation thing, though.
Not only were they able to sit up there and act that way by just banning them, they also sit up there and went out and took away their revenue streams from Patreon and several others. Right? There are now agents where they're going back saying, okay, you can no longer sit up there and have a bank account anymore because you happen to be a
the de facto leader or second in command of the Proud Boys. That seems to be like an injustice right there, man. Like that seems like something to warrant a potential legal investigation. And there are, dude. Like no, there is also, and I have been, full disclosure, I have been assisting in the complaint against Patreon itself as well. I won't go into any of the details there, but within about the next 60 days or so, there should actually be an official complaint filed with the FTC over that whole debacle with Sargon and Stripe and PayPal pulling out from Subscribestar. So, like, again, there is due process. Does it instantly happen? Like when you said, yes, Donald Trump met with the CEO of Google. That was 3 or 4 days ago, man. So it's like, we'll have to see what happens.
You're promoting this thing, saying, yeah, this will be a faster way to resolve these issues. You're trying to promote what's going to happen is even better as saying, oh, well, at least we'll get these issues resolved sooner. No, you won't.
Well, here's the thing. MC and memes, there's something we've neglected. We're thinking about this from the perspective of Americans. This affects the EU. This affects the EU. An area where you can get fucking arrested for a damn tweet. How do you think Article
the UK is another beast, and I think that may be why we scared Jensen away. But no, all I'm saying is, okay, if they say for individual non-commercialized use, you have the ability to post your links, you have the ability to use these things. Okay, that's fair enough. But then it's meant to protect the press. Oh, well, how do we do the press? And dude, this is one of the reasons why I'm like, all right, let's set up a place for general discourse.
Let's go to another case of this. All right, let's say that I do exactly what you said. I post a link like I normally do and everything. Then they turn around and they monetize my video.
Okay, you can appeal that, and any of the revenue generated will then go to you.
Do they give me a list when they monetize my video?
You go right into the Creator Studio. It has a little thing next to it.
To do research, I have to find out what they've done. Content, whereas they don't have to, do they?
They don't have fact checkers or folks researching or stuff like that. Because I mean, if anything, that would like lower people's faith in the media, which I mean, President Trump has done a pretty good job of.
So Article 13 says link like that are supposed to be established. It's up to YouTube to tell them.
Oh,
this is all on the backs of YouTube.
Well, and again, we're assuming YouTube and Google will still function in the EU after that. They've actually mentioned that they might just peace out of there because there is precedent.
We'll see if they do.
Well, and that's the thing. We don't know. Because if that happened, they may go back and try to amend some legislation.
But I wouldn't hold my breath because the people that control this are as leftist as the EU is. They were all Remainers as well, weren't they?
Yeah, and even if folks agree on some things, that doesn't mean they agree on everything, MC. All I'm saying, man, is I think this could unlock a lot of potential for folks.
Look at what Tim Pool said. All right. Tim Pool says, well, considering all the different things and everything on it, I'm not going to go see Ms. Marvel. Right?
Yeah, he did.
And then he went and did it. Well, what does that tell you about the leftist mindset?
Memes, here's the thing.
Who doesn't like a good movie?
He didn't say it was a
here's the thing. Let's look at what this does. Let's look at what this does. Not only does it protect the large multimedia conglomerates, but let's look at it as individual content creators from the perspective of someone who would be in the EU. Let's look at it from a Dankula perspective. So I either have to get permission or pay a large multimedia conglomerate to just talk or rebuttal something if I want to use some of their publishing. The free speech does not exist within the EU. I could potentially be arrested over something, or YouTube, Facebook, Twitter could just decide, well, your content's just not available in this area. How do you not see this as authoritarian? Either you're not going to make money, your content's just purely not available, or you could potentially get thrown in jail for having an edgy boy moment.
I don't think I ever said it wasn't potentially highly authoritarian, because it's coming from the government, which is authority just in and to itself. What I'm saying is this is shaking up the snow globe, right? No, I get what you're saying, but all I'm saying is there are also ways around this. Okay, let's say we are monetizing and everything. How's it different then? It's like, okay, I set up a WordPress website. Oh, skepticsguild.com. Yes, shill, bada bill, shameless self-promotion here. And let's say, oh, okay, maybe we want to have some featured people here. All right, well, who are we going to have for featured people? I don't know. Let's go down the little drop bar. Oh, look, hey, look, there's Mad Dodge Productions here. We can link to his page, link to his Twitter and stuff like that. So he actually now has another page. And if we actually have folks to write articles, actually source things, actually you write in their own words, like we did used to do in school and stuff, and we actually publish thoughtful articles that even provide an ulterior point of view, something like a Quillette or something like that. It's like we have the ability to do it. We just need to do that. The meta is just being rigajiggered.
Hold on, MC and memes. Normally, I would agree with you if it were the United States. In the EU, it's not the same. There is no freedom of speech. Fair use does not apply to the EU in the same way it does in the United States. And Article 11 and Article 13 completely undermine it.
So what would to stop me under my little launch page here of the means of destruction to simply state all of my content is free for republication or use. Use as you will, smiley face. I can do that. Sargon could do that. MC could do that. You could do that. And now, guess what? You have a group. Why can't he?
He would have to reach out to you.
If I make a statement saying that all of my work is available for free use, guess what? I am now saying anybody can use my content and reproduce it. What I'm saying is it would promote activities and collaboratives such as that, which I believe it does actually mention in the directive. It wants to promote people working together in order to find ways to overcome. Because, dude, that's what human beings do. Ultimately, it comes down. We overcome.
Well, you know what? Here's the sad reality of things. If you use anything that is not your own original content,
I'm still protected by the U.S. The question is, would it be available in the EU? Which goes back to the question of, will these platforms be operating in the EU circa 2 years?
Sargon's not protected. And even if it was all 100% original content, like let's say you went and did your own on-the-ground reporting.
No, you just sticks it, man.
No.
I watch Styx's content all the time. I haven't clicked an article for him for a while, so I mean, how does that really change things?
And even then, let's say that all goes according to plan. Yeah, it's your own original content. You didn't use anything from any other group, or let's say you even had permission to use something. You could still get arrested for fucking hate speech because free speech does not exist in the EU.
All right, let me go on to something else here.
Well, that seems like a personal problem, Doku.
Beams, let's take your website that you just put up.
Sure.
Let me put something and be real blunt with you. if somebody links something from like the French Times or something like that in there, EU can sue you.
Okay. How does it make the EU look suing a half-Jewish dragonkin?
Oh, it doesn't matter how it looks. Can you afford it?
What are they suing me for?
They're going to sue you under the
They can
under
sue you for hate
11.
speech.
All right, no, they can sue him right now for having a link in there and not paying for the link. So therefore, they're gonna issue a fine. All right.
Do I live in Europe?
It's up to the content provider. All right, whoever provides that content, the website distributor. It is your responsibility, or you will get fined.
To be fair, it might be on Google because it's through WordPress.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, more specifically, they would find Google, and more likely than not, you could put it up. Here's the caveat: you can put up that content. No one in Europe's going to be able to view it. So sorry, Jensen. Sorry, Voice of One. You guys are not going to be able to view our content anymore, because YouTube, more likely than not, if they're smart, if there's anything that remotely might trigger that that little caveat, they'll just
you do realize how silly that would be right now if all of a sudden they're like, we are filing a $250,000 lawsuit against the memes of destruction for linking to the European Union law right here. And it's like, my argument would be like, so you don't want people to know the law, a reasonably prudent person, question mark.
Well, memes,
and if they want to argue that in court, fair to them, arguing against citation, like you said earlier, MC. That doesn't seem very academic for me.
Memes.
They could do it. They could absolutely could. But then they're going to show themselves to be authoritarian. That's what I'm saying.
Well, because they are. They are. Memes, think about it. Google has two options. You either don't provide the content within that country, or you get fined and you have to walk the tightrope. Because the way Article 11 and Article 13 are worded, it's not distinctive or clear enough as to what you can or cannot do.
Okay, so then you could argue it both ways. You could argue it in an unjust way, or you can argue it in a completely just way.
Well, what do you think YouTube's going to do?
I have no idea. They've talked about pulling out of the EU.
No, either A, you run the risk of getting fined over what your individual content creators do on your own platform, and the EU fines you, or B, you just, this is a little sketchy. I don't know if this violates or doesn't violate Article 11 and 13, so we just won't make the content available in your country.
EU, can Google pull out of the EU?
Yeah.
Oh, they can't.
Why not?
Because they have offices and everything in there.
Okay.
They would have to
close the offices.
They're Google
offices. They're an international corporation. They have business operations in all these other areas. Now, what has the EU been known to do when it comes to fines and everything?
Oh, they have extremely large fines against Apple and Samsung, I think.
But what else have they been known to do when they have fines against individuals?
I don't know.
They throw you in fucking jail.
They can throw you in jail, or they'll do what they did to freaking Count Dankula and just take it as revenue. They'll just walk in there and seize it. So any of your assets are now subject to being seized by the EU.
Do you think the EU is going to seize assets from U.S. bank accounts? I mean, that may I don't know, dude. Is that it? That seems like an escalation, man. That seems like an international conflict.
I do think that they'll do it.
Memes,
that doesn't sound like the wisest thing to do. Because especially if the EU, play out this scenario, gentlemen, play out this scenario for just one moment. Okay, let us operate on the assumption that at some point within the next 2 years, the UK leaves the EU, and then the EU, in the worst possible context, starts fining people hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, and they start doing this to multiple folks all across the world. How does that look? Well, we lost a £40 billion a year revenue stream, and we start offering fines to everybody. Who's going to want to play with them anymore? If you have a friend that's like, unfair, you owe me $5, you're not going to play anymore. Maybe they'll adjust their actions.
Have you ever tried to watch a video clip or listen to a fucking song, and you get that fucking message from YouTube saying, this video is not available in your country?
Yes.
That is exactly what the fuck YouTube will do.
Oh. Well, if folks can't watch my content in Europe, that's kind of sad.
That's exactly what's going to happen under Article 11 and 13, because YouTube, Google, Facebook, Twitter, they're not going to fucking deal with the bullshit. They're just going to say, all right, fine, fuck it. This content is not available in your country.
Yeah, they just remove it from all.
That's what they're going to do.
But won't that make people sad if they can't watch a bunch of content because of some silly law?
Well, why do you think everybody's pissed off about Article 11 and 13?
That's why I'm saying it's like these people, as MC would say, have the ability to vote for people that they want to represent them. And if something's very important, that usually gets people's attention. So that's all I'm saying.
Do you think these politicians actually care about the people they're supposedly representing?
Well,
why
they
do you think
should.
So
that's why they. Well,
they should. What's that word? Brexit comes to mind.
Oh well, you know what? If you're not gonna hold up, the people do have the ability to vote, especially if the people are paying attention when they can't access like the videos they want to watch. As all of a sudden, one of your favorite productions goes away, you're going to be asking why. Maybe you'll do some due diligence and check it out.
Have they voted out Theresa May yet?
Well, I thought she already said she was going to resign.
Memes, this is what we've been saying. And this applies to Europe. This applies to the United States. These politicians, they're authoritarian and they're completely out of touch with their constituents. They're completely out of touch with the population. The second Article 11 and 13 was even proposed and people got a chance to look at what it would entail and what the outcome would be. It didn't even take 24 hours for people to start realizing you're gonna see videos on YouTube and you're gonna see that this video is not available in your country because YouTube, Facebook, Twitter are not going to run the risk. They're just going to say, this video is not available in your country. They're not going to expose themselves to being fined. And that's going to be that. It's like, you know what? This is the way you guys want to do it. We're not going to run the risk. We're just going to sit back and say, if that's the way you want to play ball, then guess what? We're just going to take the ball and go home. That's why everybody was so against it.
Well, that seems like it would make for a very sad day there. So... gentlemen, we've been going for probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours now. I was thinking about wrapping it up. Final thoughts on these copyright directives for the EU? Let's start with MC.
Like history memes. It'll tell you what's going to happen. Stop wishing in one hand and shitting in the other.
All right. Well, you know what? I still like to believe in magic. Doku, let's close this out.
Well, all I'm going to say is Article 11 and 13, regardless if it's well-intentioned or not, it's going to be a disaster for the EU. And if you're not sitting in Brussels and you support this, all right then. Guess you won't be listening to me and MC and memes bantering sometime in the next 2 years. But hey, if you support it and that's what you voted for, then have fun.
Well, apparently that has been what has been voted for, even if it may or may not have been an oopsie by certain members. But we've gone against.
I tapped the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, mistakes happen. I mean, we had a full 19 seconds to vote on it. I mean, these are just stuff and things that happen. I mean, these articles have been passed by the EU. There's, I believe, one more finalizing vote on them coming up, as well as the implementation. I mean, it sounds like there could be a lot of negative consequences that people are fearing. There could be a lot of potentially good things that potentially could be promoted, I would argue at least, but well, I guess we're just going to have to see what the heck comes to pass. So I would like to thank everybody for joining me here. MC, Doku, Jensen, as well as Voice, who was here earlier. So with that, we're just going to roll out with our exit. And peace out, everybody.
It's hard, I've been scarred from out fighting. Waking up, stomach is starved, I keep grinding.